Going down on a Sunday. How's everyone's day today? Anyone catch Google after the last time we had class? Just wondering. What's everyone get into any trades over the long weekend? Usually when you kind of risky trading over the weekend, to be honest. Let me see. For those who don't already have the anyone guess the my what EMA that I have on this yellow one? You can have this on there for hourly and 4-hour charts just to figure out. I use it because it's good for dips. Like usually if I'm on the hourly and the 4-hour, like for example, let's go to Apple. In some names, okay, not all of them. In this case, Facebook, Facebook treated it as support. Let's go through a couple names. PayPal did too on the way down. Roku did too. Roku's actually a good buy, to be honest. So here's the thing. Does anyone know the name of like there's a name for when if let's say you have let's say you have let's say I throw in like a 50 EMA, or even I can even use a 21 as an example. Once a 21 crosses over the 200, does anyone know what the name is? There's a certain name for when smaller moving averages cross over big ones. And I'm not talking about 9 crossing above a 21. It has to be like a smaller moving average crossing over a longer term moving average. So it's going to be like a golden cross, right? So that golden cross that we are discussing, it basically mean, what does it basically mean? Like what is happening during a golden cross when it comes to price action itself? Right, it's bullish, but it means there's a shift in what? Sentiment, right? So it's like a sentiment shift. So that means the stock is going from bearish to bullish, right? And then momentum is what happens after. That's what it needs for it to keep going. Okay. So I use the 200 for the hourly and the 4-hour a lot, not all the time, but I just have it there just in case, because for example, if I'm looking at Roku here and and if I do like an analysis just based on that single EMA, right? I see that it rejected here and here, and then now we're here. So if I wanted to trade this to the downside, right? If I think that, okay, this thing might go down again, where do you guys think a good level would be for me to enter puts on the way down to swing it? I was looking for the answer that JD just said, below the 21 EMA. Why is a 21 EMA a good candle to enter in? And all you have to do is just look at the past 3 days, to be honest. Exactly. Boom. Strong support, right? How do we know it's a strong support? Well, we bounced here, right? We bounced over here, and then we just kind of trailed along it, right? So this, all you have to do is just make sure that the EMA, the 21, has been used as a support and or resistance, right? So now, if Roku was to fall below here, right? So right now, I'm using this level, just assuming that the price is gonna stay relatively stagnant until we open tomorrow. So I'm gonna make the level here at 328, right? But obviously, the EMA might go down like this, or it might go up like this, right? That's why I'm just using this as the level, which also happens to be what? Resistance and support, right? Does that make sense to you guys? So for this, in this case, like tomorrow, if we fall above like below like 320.93, but what I would want is like on like on the hourly, okay? And since we're gonna swing this, if you're gonna get into Roku puts tomorrow, I mean, hopefully Roku doesn't go down, to be honest, because I don't want I want the market to go up. But if it does go down and we're swinging it, a lot of people don't have the patience to wait, right? Some people are like, all right, the price goes to 328.80, and you're like, okay, it's below, I'm gonna enter. No. What I like to do is I want to wait for a full hourly candle to be below like this. I want an hourly candle to close fully below. Would I like it? Would I like it to end to why under the 21 and not the 9 is entry? Okay, so you're saying, so this is what you're saying. You're saying that why not enter right here then? So what's the difference between entering at 332 and 328 right here? So we have Mike. He's asking why under the 21 and not the 9. So if you go heavy and then you get a lot of buying pressure coming in at the 21, what's going to happen to your position? Right? It only makes sense to enter below the 21. But hopefully what happens tomorrow is this thing goes back up. There isn't a big downtrend though. So stocks like this, like I'll have it on my watch list, but I don't, you don't use the 55 EMA. No, I don't. You guys use whatever EMA you're comfortable with. I don't want you guys to copy what I have. Whatever works for you, works for you. Try it all out. You can try the 50, the 100, the 150, the 200. These are just long-term EMAs. You don't even have to use a 921. You can also use like an 8 and 20, you know? Some people are like, why don't you use 24? Like, I'm using 21. There's really no wrong or right answer to that. It's just the preference. So for this, for Roku, just for Roku on the to go to the downside, to swing to the downside, I'm gonna wait until we fully close below the 21 on the hourly. But also, if you look at the daily here, this can present a great what ways. Yeah, it'll work for day trading. Like you just need to try for yourself and see for yourself if it works or not. Because I can tell you that it works, but if you don't apply it, it's just you won't know. No, I'm saying that this guy's like, look, Roku's high is at 480. We're about how many percent down is this? 20%? More than 20% down below down from where the high is. So this can also present us a buying opportunity for shares. I bought some shares too. But for me to swing this to the long side, can anybody guess where I would buy it? I'll buy it around here. Let me color it. This red line is where I would buy this to the upside. I mean, look, cause like if you look at the downtrend right here, did we already break the downtrend sort of? Are we already breaking out of the downtrend to go to the upside? This means that essentially, right? This means that right here, this is where the buyers are accumulating their positions, right? So now all we're waiting for is more momentum and more volume for us to push this up. So anything above 346, in my opinion, is a good swing for like, I don't know, 2 months. Yeah, so the break of the 21 EMA to the upside on the daily chart for Roku, that's what would give me that conviction to swing this up. Look at Amazon. Amazon might make a crazy move because look, even if you look at the daily, right? So if you look at, you know, yeah, the bottom top. So the top of this is at around 32.70. What price are we at on Amazon? This is like a good setup here. 31. So let me see. All right, perfect. Look, where would my can you guys see my chart clearly? Where would my entry be for calls tomorrow? I'm gonna zoom in. My entry will be around here. Above 31.50. No, we're already at 31.62. It's already above the EMA. We don't just because I'm telling you, just because for the other stock, just because I'm using the other stock for the EMA as entry doesn't mean I'm going to do that with this one. You got to be kind of, what's the word for that? You need to be versatile in the way you trade. You don't want to just do one thing the whole time because it's already above. I mean, you know, even with the stuck RSI. Okay, and I went over this too in the beginning of class. This is not. Is it? Am I looking at an RSI or am I looking at a stochastics? What is the difference between an RSI and the stochastics? What are the differences between the two? There's one is overbought and oversold, and one is a momentum indicator. There's that's like a completely different thing. What is the difference between a stochastics and an RSI? Let me just show an example because no one's answering. I need a good example. Okay. Let's look at this period right here. And this is for whoever asked me about the whole oversold thing, overbought. So, what month did at this point, right? This is SPY. What month did we start going above this this blue 80 line right here? October. So, if you're looking at this as it being overbought and you're like, let me buy some puts, when did it finally drop? When did the price finally drop? So is this indicator telling us that the momentum is strong, or is it telling us that it's overbought? That's the answer to the question, okay? I'll show Facebook after. So with Amazon, we were looking at the hourly. Okay. So on the 4-hour on Amazon, okay, this is how it looks. So how many this resistance line that I made for entry? You guys, is this a good entry or no? Why is it not a good entry? Why is it a good entry, and why are people saying it's not a good entry? I don't understand. No, yeah. Well, I'm saying it would this be a good this line right here that I have, this price level that I have right here, does it mark a good entry if it crosses? I guess I wasn't being fucking. So when you have these lines, okay, when you have these resistance lines, you want to make sure that on every single time frame that you're looking at, it has multiple touches, okay? And right here, I'm looking at it on the daily, right? I'm looking at it on the daily, and I'm focused on the past month, okay? And just by looking at the past month, right? Entry would be 31.78, and my exit would be about 32.76. That's $100 move. Yeah, that'll turn 10,000 into like, I don't know, 50 or more. Let me see. That will turn. I'm gonna be swinging Amazon tomorrow, hopefully. Bank. I'm gonna try to bank on a $100 move. So 9th of April strike. If you drop 10,000 on Amazon, just with the Delta alone, they do 3 contracts, so that's 10. 50 times 3. 50 times 3. 50. Okay, so 50 times 3. So if your delta's 50 and you have 3 contracts, that's what, $150 per dollar move. So if you have a $100 move, how much are you making? $15K on just the delta. That's not even including the gamma, and that's not including the implied volatility with the Vega, because the implied volatility on this contract is only 20%, and sometimes Amazon can get up to like 70. So it can potentially bank, which is what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Also, another thing I want to show you guys, in this thing we're looking at right here. If you make, and I'm making these shapes so that you can see it better, so you can understand the visuals better. What is happening here? Right? We're in a range, okay? We're in a range. So we're in a consolidation. Just because we moved from 3,000 all the way up to 31.80 the past week, doesn't mean that we started we started the move already. Because just look at the bigger picture. First of all, we haven't even reached the breakout level. We haven't even broken out of the breakout level. What is my ultimate here? I'm gonna ask you guys a question. So if I was to, okay, so first of all, let's do this. So my first swing is gonna be from what to what? Above resistance until it hits a trend line. Boom. 31.61 to 32.71. That's number one. Now, my second swing would be from what to what? From around 32.75-ish, right? I give it some time, like from 32.71. Where can my profit target be? What did we talk about a week ago? Boom. Like JD says, right? The next swing high, 34.34. Take profit. What is my next? And then I'm re-entering because it broke again. Where's my next exit? 35.12. And then after that, I swing to 35.50-ish. That area. Does that make sense? This is how you trade like smart a little bit. Because you know, you don't want to buy it. Because here's the thing, you can, like, it's harder to hold through the whole thing. It's really hard to hold through the whole thing. And you can't determine how long it's gonna take to get there. You know what I mean? So I always give it like, because Amazon's fucking expensive. So I always buy like 1 week. I always buy 1 week out. Swing highs are proper targets, exactly. Especially for something like Amazon. For example, if you want to buy a month out on Amazon, someone go look at how much does it cost to swing a month out on Amazon? At the money. 1 month out. Someone check. So it's April. Go to May. That's for one single contract. It's $110 for one contract, which is 10,000. Would you rather do that or spend that 10 on 3 weekly contracts and sell it every 2 days? If it goes up your direction every 2 days, that's the risk, right? What would you rather do? What do you guys think you would make more on? The monthly contract or just or the single contract or the 3 contracts? And the reason why we're talking about we're making this example is because this is we're talking about Amazon, which is like completely expensive, right? And not a lot of people can afford to buy fucking one contract of Amazon and hold it. Day trading for Amazon tomorrow, day trading wise, right? Day trading wise, I'm gonna use the same level right here. I'm gonna use the same level. But where would my profit target be for my day trades? Just by looking at a 4 hour, where would my profit target be? No, my profit target is not 31.78 because that's where I'm entering the trade, right? No, well, that can be probably 32.13 for a day trade. Does this make sense? Right here. 1, 2, 3. Once it hits 32.13, this is when I'll have more. I'll have like 3 or 4 contracts. Then I'll trim it, right? I'll trim one here, right? I'll trim one here. Where's my next profit target for a day trade? Here. Does that make sense right there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are so my first what you should do too is what you can do is to remind you when you're trading, you can color your lines, right? That's my first profit target. So orange is gonna be my first, and then green will be my second. And ultimately, once we get to about here, right? If we were to get to about 32.76 here, that's when I'll exit everything, all my day trades, because I'll be up, right? That means I held contracts for $100, and then I'll re-enter again. How much can Amazon move in a day roughly? Are you asking me or have you not looked for yourself? I'm not being mean. I'm just saying. Did we go over how to look at how much things can move? So you should go back to when we talked about it, so you know for yourself. But Amazon can move about 80 to, I don't know, 130 probably. Amazon used to be a crazy stock last year. Last year it was crazy. Was it right here? Yeah, around here. I remember this. Just imagine this. This was last year. Did anyone? I don't think you guys were. Were you guys trading at this time when this happened? All the way from 2000, literally from 2000 to 3500 in 6 months. That made a lot of people money. Someone in our group, someone had turned like 1,000 into 100,000 just from trading this shit in a month. Here's the thing. What is the difference, right? And this is what people need to understand. What is the difference between this period of time, this 6 months, versus this 6 months? And a lot of people, this is the reality of shit right here. What is the difference between these two? Let's say this is a whole year divided into two. What's the difference between this and this? No, simply this is a good 6 months. This is a bad 6 months. Right? This is a harder time to trade, easier time to trade. This is what they show you on social media, and this is what you have to face in reality. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, obviously this is a consolidation, this is a run, but I'm just saying that you cannot be expecting this to happen every fucking day. Is there a reason the second half was a harder time? I mean, come on, guys. It's only common sense, isn't it? What's Amazon trading at? You think people will want to keep buying Amazon? You think, come on. It's almost obvious, isn't it? Why do you guys think things consolidate? Because there aren't many buyers to buy the thing. There are not enough demand to drive the price up. There hasn't been any crazy news about Amazon lately either. So when it comes to trading stuff like Amazon, it's almost best to just, because if you were trying to swing this the whole time, then it would be like you're gonna get your premium killed the whole, like this is a premium killer. That's why I would wait. I want to wait until the right time to do it, especially after this big drop here. Boom. Now it looks good, right? So should we see Amazon to the downside then? No, it doesn't mean that we're gonna see Amazon to the downside, because if the whole market does well, if you have four of the FANG stocks doing well, and Amazon is the only one not doing well, then Amazon will end up doing well, because these institutions have their assets allocated into all of these names. So if four names do good, then the other name is gonna follow. Does that make sense? Exactly. They carry each other. You can't just look at one single big ass stock and think that it's gonna do its own thing, especially if it's weighted into the market. But to be honest, Amazon looks really good to the upside. Facebook too, right? Let's go back to Amazon day trade real quick. So for tomorrow, I already showed you guys my levels, right? So what I'm gonna wait for, I'm gonna wait for the level to break, right? I'm waiting for the level to break, and then I'm gonna do my whole, risk to reward. When it comes to Amazon, I'll probably give it like a $20 room to the downside, $25 room to the downside, and then whatever my profit target was that I mentioned earlier. Snapchat. All right, let me delete all of this. Snapchat. Are we at a strong support level? Did we bounce off of a support level or no? Here, right? This one. This was a strong one. This support level held the price up for how long? How long did we hold the price up for? It was trying to get pushed down the whole time. Remember that? That's like months, right? So buyers are there. Now, the only thing we have to worry about is a 200. Once it gets past a 200, it should be a go. But I think Snapchat's a good buy, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with Snapchat. You know, people just sold it off a little bit. It doesn't mean anything. It's not like it's a shitty stock. Momentum here is starting to go. All we need is some volume and maybe it going above the 20 the 21 on the daily too. Have you guys ever used options profit calculator? Did I talk to you guys about that yet? No, huh? I haven't showed you guys that. So what you want to do is you go on your browser, look up optionsprofitcalculator.com. How many of you guys are on this right now? Do a long call. It's a normal call. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enter the symbol that I want to trade. For example, someone give me a name. CRM. Get price. That's the current price of CRM. Buy. So option, you select the option. Can you see this option chain next on the screen or no? Do you remember which one you guys chose? Is it the 9th of April? Let's say you choose a 220 call, right? This is the ask. You click the ask. Click it. And then let's say you buy 10, right? Just put the how many contracts you have. Calculate. Once you go to calculate, you want to go down. You want to change the output type down here, and you want to put profit loss dollar value. Boom. So now what this is telling you is tomorrow when the market opens, okay? When the market opens, if CRM is at if CRM is at like 221, that means you'll be up 970. So how much does CRM have to go up by for you to be up 100% on this contract? You spent 2450 on this. How many in terms of dollars does CRM have to go up by for you to make 100%? Around 223.50. So it has to go up by it has to go up by 219, 219, 220, 221. Almost $5. So $4 and like 50 cents. So if CRM goes up $4.50, you essentially make 100% if you chose that strike. And I used to use this website to figure out how much I can make for my swings. So let's see this. Let's do Amazon, okay? Get the price of Amazon. Select the option. Let's say 9th of April. We choose this 3600 one, and we buy 3, it's gonna be around 10.8. Okay, and how much was Amazon? How much did Amazon go up by? How much did Amazon go up by for it to hit that trend line that we first saw? Where was the trend line at? Let's go back. If our trend line, if our profit target, if our initial profit target is the trend line right here, what is the trend line at? What is the price? 32.76. Okay, now let's go back to the other screens. How much am I making if it goes up to 32.76? Off of 10,000. Now, what is it contingent on? See, you guys are saying all these random numbers, but what is it contingent on? Because what happens every single day you hold it? It depends on time. Exactly what Aladdin said. It depends on time, how long it takes, right? So assuming that it can take 2 days, right? I just give it 2 days, 3 days. 32.76. So around here, you're gonna be up around 22,000. 22,000. 22, 23. But that's already, you just doubled your money, more than doubled your money. Let's say you buy one. 32.76. How much are you gonna make? You're still gonna make around 6 to 7K off of 3,600. Now, what if you choose? So, do you guys remember when we talked last time how much Amazon can potentially move up by? Anyone remember? No. I'm talking about once it breaks out of the big pattern that it has. So look, if we go on the weekly, chart, okay, you guys see the pattern that it has, right? So let's say, you're gonna go out like a month and you just want to hold the contract, right? If we're gonna look at the size of the pull, for example, like this, let's say you want to buy like a contract and it expires in like 5 months, right? So this is like $1,000 move. This is like the craziest scenario if it was to happen. Okay. But sometimes crazy scenarios do happen. How many of you have seen crazy ass scenarios that just played out of nowhere? And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Right? GME isn't even, AMC and GME are the most recent ones. But I've seen Amazon go up like $300 in one day. I've seen Tilray go from $50 to $300 in one day. So crazy scenarios do happen, and sometimes you can bang your buck on something crazy. I'm not advocating it, but I'm saying that even if you go $400 out of the money and you go like 3 months out, and let's look at how much it costs, right? let's say you want to choose like June, and you want to go $500 out. Current price is what? 31.61. Here, 3,600. Let's say you choose this one, and you calculate. Right now, can you guys see my screen? So this is a June expiration, and our strike price is $3,600. That's just 3,600 is slightly above the high of Amazon. Is 3,600 even close to how much Amazon could potentially run if it followed that pull rule? No, right? It would be over 4,000 at the end of the year if that happened, if it was to follow through with that. But let's see, like for example, how much would you guys want to risk on an Amazon swing going 4 months out? How much would you guys want to risk on an Amazon swing going 4 months out? Because we're at a point where we might see a crazy move on Amazon, and I just want to know where your guys' heads are at. So if you were to risk like 5,000 on Amazon going 4 months out, right? You can buy 2 of these. This is a $400 strike price, $400 strike expiration. So as long as Amazon stays above 3,600, by the time your contract is about to expire, you're gonna be green, right? So you guys need to learn how to take advantage of these big moves, because when they happen, they will happen, and this is like how you can exponentially grow that account of yours. And this is like the easiest way to do it, is to just go a little bit longer out, especially if you're that type of person that if you can't watch your position, you should just swing stuff and just let it ride and let it do its thing. So these long swings, you can do it on your. So here's the thing. For those of you who have, like, if you have multiple accounts, you should have one that's dedicated to swings, one that's dedicated to day trading, and then one that's just strictly long term. That's what I have. My long term accounts, I don't trade options on. I just keep buying stuff every day. I just buy stuff every single day. And also, you can do puts on this. You can even make your own option strategies. But I only use it to figure out how much I'm gonna make on these calls and puts, to give me an idea, because this is a powerful tool to give me an idea of what stocks I can actually trade and which one is worth it to take. Does that make sense? Like Snapchat. Right? If I choose a 9th expiration, I'm over here, I buy this one, and I buy let's say I buy like 20 of these. It's gonna cost $3K. If Snapchat goes up $1, I'm only up 1,000. So if contract expires and price is at 3,600, yeah, we still profit, even if it gets here. We saw earlier, right? Even if it, I mean, obviously, when you go like 3 months out, I'm expecting to sell the contract after just like 3 weeks to a month. The only reason why I went 3 months out is just to buy time, just in case, right? Let's go look at some more names. So not only does Amazon look good, but so does Facebook. So does Facebook. Mike, I'm gonna guys. You guys need to be patient, man. Jeez, I'll show right now. How did I grow my account from 1K to 10K in a week? How? How? You guys are all just so hungry for this, huh? All right. How did I grow my account like this? I just swung everything that I said I was gonna swing. And why did 75% of the chat not hold their shit? Why? That's the difference. My Microsoft call was down like 55%. And what I do, I bought more. Everyone else sold it before I made that big ass move. I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna say anything because these motherfuckers are just gonna be like, why are you buying more? It's going down, Kevin. It's going down. Looking like fucking SpongeBob. With the one he was like, you know, when he's fucking leaning over and shit. You guys know what I'm talking about? But no, it's just like because when did we we called Amazon Microsoft here and then they just fucking went down and then they went once it found the support, that's when I bought more, right? The thing you want to do is when you have a $1,000 account, you want to swing it, you want to swing trades until you get to a point where you have enough money in there to be able to day trade off. And I'm not saying you need to grow to 25,000 and then day trade, right? Because unfortunately, Robinhood doesn't even do cash accounts. So with me, I had to limit my day trades. So that also placed a restriction on what I could have on what I had to do, right? I couldn't go crazy day trading because they had that pattern day what's this shit? Pattern day trading rule. So when you're trying to grow 1 to 10 strictly, I was just risking. I left $500 in there, and then I used the other 500 to swing like 2 names, and that's it. And I left it there for a few days. But you have to understand, because I feel like people are just like, oh, he can do 1 to 10 like nothing. No, because if the market is bad, then you have to accept that you're gonna lose, right? Like if you go to the casino and they give you a bad hand, like what are you gonna do? If you come to the casino with $100 and you risk okay, if you come to the casino with $100 and you use $50 per hand, right? 50, yeah, and you want to come into a table that's $50 minimum, you can only fucking play twice. And if both of them are shitty hands, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna blame the casino and fucking cancel your membership? Oh, you guys suck. It's you, right? I mean, I'm not saying that we're gambling here, but this is like the stock market is like it's like educated gambling for nerds, to be honest. That's how I look at it. But it's all risk management, right? But if you went to what if you went to a $5 table with $100? Then you have 20 hands. Right? Now you have 20 hands, and now you have so much to work with right now with 20 hands. Rather than trying to go for the big fish and getting mad when you get eaten by a shark. Right? It's like you're going fishing. How many fishing rods do you have? You have 2. You have 2 expensive ones when you could have bought 20 normal ones and you just line them all up. Then once you, and it all depends too. Like I said, because when I grew my one, I grew the one to like 5, right? I caught some good moves, and there was a point where the third day I brought it up to 3, and then the next day it was back down to 1,500. But I was like, you know what? I went to go look for more plays, and I just bought it, because what happens is when you start losing money, you start losing confidence. When you start losing confidence, you just end up not wanting to risk money, and then you get scared, and then you ask for help. When in reality, you need to go through that to be able to. You need to grow through those losses to be able to get through it. And trading at the right time. You don't know when the right time is, but what I mean by that is knowing when to not play. Right? Do you guys know when to not play? When do you not play? When there's chop. How do you know when there's chop? Right? How do you know when there's chop? You just look at the market, right? So how do I know when there's not chop? How do I know when there's chop, and how do I know when there's not? So I use this. So look. So let's say, let me delete this. Now let me use this. This is a good example right here. Okay. Use pre-market and after hour support and resistance as areas of value. Meaning if the price does not go through those areas of value, whether it be to the upside or the downside, then it's considered chop. And that's a rule that you can go by. Does that make sense? So in this case, right, pre-market resistance, pre-market support. If the market doesn't go above this area of value or below this area of value, then it's chop. If it just stays in this, then it's chop. I'm not gonna answer anything if it's gonna be if it's still gonna be in here. That's the easiest way for you to save yourself from getting fucked over. Wasn't that day a little choppy later on? Yeah, but I mean, that's why you show up on time and you don't show up in the middle of the day. Does that make sense? Exactly what Mike just said. It made a significant move. Now, let's look at the previous day. Right, I'm gonna delete this. Let's look at the previous day right here. Was the previous day chop or no? Pre-market resistance, pre-market support. Does that make sense? Let's look at this day. Pre-market resistance, pre-market support. You see the difference between this and these? Just use that rule. It'll save you a lot of fucking time. Trust me. Because I feel like some people can't stand not being in the market. It's just like, ugh. You know? How many of you just want to jump in trades like every single day? No, the only way for you to be able to make money like that every single day is to do what? Is if you scalp, is if you have enough money to actually get into positions heavy and make enough with those positions. That's exactly what I mean, Stephanie. That's what you need to do, because you can't expect, because here's the thing. some of these plays, some of these you can still day trade, but like it's easier on the conscious to just swing stuff. That's it. What are some of the hardest lessons you had to learn? Honestly, chasing is like the hardest thing ever. I still have trouble with it because I'll be up like 4 or 5, and I'll catch like a $7 move on Amazon with like 10 contracts or something, and then next thing you know, this thing runs $20 more. When I start thinking, I'm like, holy shit, bro, I could have made like 15 or 20 or this and that. And then what I do after it makes that move, I re-enter it, and then next thing you know, I lose what I just profited, only because I had like a little, only because I'm like, oh fuck, I could have made more, so let me try to do this so I can potentially make what I just thought about. But no, I just lost what I got. So getting greedy is definitely that is definitely like the one thing that will set you back and can potentially drive you to the ground if you let it. So I'll just be happy with your profits. Like, do some math. Like, what? Like, here, what's 50? How many trading days are there in a year? 252. You have any suggestions on how to grow a small account with shares? You can't. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. Well, if you want to make $100 in 5 months, then go for it. Look, 252 trading days. Yeah, I mean, you can't. A small account with shares. What if you have $500? You want to buy shares? What you want to buy? You want to buy 5 apples? You want to buy fucking look? You want to Snapchat's at $50. Only moves $2 a day. Hasn't even made a $10 move. Hasn't even made a run up. Look, it hasn't even made a full month of a run. It's just no. I don't even want to think about it. It's just dumb. It's hard to grow small accounts with like if it's just like when people say like you fucking you're on Instagram. When you guys see on Instagram on these like investing pages, it's like if you had invested $1,000, if you invest $1,000 in 40 years, you'll have 1 million. 40 years, bro. I'm 23. What do you mean? So you're saying by the time I'm 64, I'm gonna have $1 million off of my 1,000? What am I gonna do with the $1 million at 63 years old? What am I gonna go to the retirement home and get bottle service there? I'm just saying. If you want to make more money, then you need to increase your income. You need to do more, right? You need to do more. Once you do more, you invest everything into things that can generate income without you having to fucking think about it, without you having to put sweat in, right? So 252 trading days, $50 a day times 252 is what? 12,000. How many of you will be happy with an extra $12,600 a year of income? $100 times 252 equals 25. I'm just giving you guys a perspective, okay? A different perspective because you need it. 250 times 252 equals 63,000. Okay. Now, 500 times 252, 500 times 252, 500 times 252 equals 126,000. 1,000. Now, 1,000 times 252 equals 252,000. Oh shit. All right. So yeah, but if I put 4K a day, you need to be like, you need to have a big account for that. Sometimes it's hard for me to average fucking 4K a day. Depends on the risk too, cause shit, I can probably average. Cause look, if you make eight, then you make 9, then you make 12, then you lose 7, then you lose 3, then you lose 2, then you lose 1, then you make 7. At the end of the month, you're gonna average the number, right? You're gonna average a number regardless. So what matters is how consistent you can be with how many. It's like this. So here, how many of you believe that if you take 2 out of 10 trades, you get 8 losing trades, 2 winning trades, you can still end up green. It's hard to practice, right? But it's hard to practice, but it takes a lot of like discipline, because this means that you have to be strict with how much where your stop loss is, right? This is the perspective. You can't you know, you can't just, you can't expect yourself to be 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 every week. It's not possible. It's possible, but you have to look at it as it's not possible, right? I'll probably if I take like I probably take like, I don't know, now like 15 trades a week. I'll probably be green on like nine of them. But then I can still lose. You can still lose money if you win 7 out of 10 trades. Why? Because here's the thing. Let's say on all those 7 trades, let's say you first lose money, right? You first lose the first 3 trades, and they were all 100% times 3 of them. And then the next 7 you win, but the next 7 you were so scarred from all of your losers that you took that you only took 10%. Does that make sense? So there's gonna be like a fine line that you have to kind of figure out here when you're trading. You need to be, and it takes time too. Like, don't be market's not going anywhere. How many of you are trying to grow 1,000 to like 2,000 or something? Or how many of you guys are starting with 1,000? Right, focus on stocks like Snap. We went over this. JP Morgan, Facebook, Apple, CRM, PayPal. These are cheap names. Micron, Johnson & Johnson, Home Depot, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, JetBlue. These are all cheap names. Tilray, EA Sports, US Steel, CVS, UPS. A lot. All right. Are you guys ready for me to make a watch list? All right, I'm gonna end it with making a watch list. But I don't know how long it's gonna take. I'll do like 5 names. I already did Amazon for you guys, so I'm gonna do that one again. So first we'll go with Facebook. It looks really good on the weekly. It looks crazy. Oh, I'm excited. It's like going to Disneyland when I see this shit. What was the news on Facebook? Oh, that shit that happens though. No, I don't think it should affect your swings. 500 billion usernames? How is there 500 billion usernames? Let me look this up. I'm gonna say 500 billion. Half a billion Facebook users information posted on hacking website. Ooh, Facebook. No, it's all right. I haven't swung it yet, so my fault. All right, let me do this. So this is my level for Facebook for calls tomorrow. And then it's gonna change. It depends how Facebook ends up doing after hours and pre-market, and then I'll just change my levels up. It depends. Um, Mike, I just go through the ones that I can think of in my head, and these are usually the ones that run a lot. Or if maybe I can go on maybe I can go on like I can check the like the volume leaders to see which one of these names actually had the most volume the from last week. Well, until it hits the profit target. No, we have a few more classes left. We're just talking about. And I announced it yesterday. You guys see, that's how I know you guys don't pay attention to this Discord. Yesterday at 9:22, class tomorrow, Sunday. It's on there. I don't just pop out in the Discord and be like, guys, class, 5 more minutes. Come in 5 minutes. No, I make sure I try to tell you guys. Someone try to guess my level for puts. Facebook. 297.69. Yep. Profit target. For puts. Here. There. So I have my calls for Facebook and I have my puts. Let's go over AMD. AMD actually really looks good. You guys get that one? Entries, the 200 and the exit. I could have made the exit 85, but AMD, sometimes you can't expect AMD to move fucking $3 in one day. So I just try to find the closest resistance before that and then make that my first profit target so that I can trim it and then potentially let the other one run to 85. Make sense? Exactly, Angelica. Safer that way so you don't you're not over here trying to do too much. Next thing you know, it hits 84.50 and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so close. And then it just goes all the way back down. No, not Google. You guys already know what's up with Google. This thing hasn't even started. CRM. I already have my level for CRM, so I'm gonna do something that I don't have the level on yet. Roku. Roku make you broku. What are we at? 331. Profit target 341. That's a good one right here. So Roku, 335.42 entry, and then exit is going to be You guys hear me? My bad. I don't know what just happened. 335.45 is my entry on Roku. Where's my exit? And this is already assuming that I know and I understand how much these names can move per day. Okay. If I had a resistance level that was like $12 away, I'm not gonna make that my profit target because that's too far. I don't want to stretch it out, but beyond what it can move per day. Does that make sense to you guys? Because you don't want to do that. It can go, but it's just, you know, that's why ATRs exist. And then for puts, it's gonna be this one. So I use the candlesticks, especially for like day trading too. So if I see like a hammer at the bottom of a pattern, and then the next candle is green, then I'm assuming that the buyers are stepping in, and then I'll probably trade that as a reversal. Is candlesticks are important. So Roku 331.90 is gonna be my not 331.90. I'm sorry here. Let me do this one because it's at 31.90. Just zoom in. If your support is, if it's literally at the support, you want to give yourself a little space. So I'm gonna make that right there, and then what I'm gonna do is gonna make this right there. So once the price falls below 331 flat, I'm gonna day trade puts all the way to 328. Yeah, somewhat. I'm very price actiony. That makes sense. And it works for me, so snap. I'm always choosing at the money. The first one at the money is what I'm gonna buy. How many of you guys get stuck on the option chain? Like you shouldn't get stuck on the option chain. Like you choosing an option should take you less than 10 seconds. Choose the at the money one, buy the ask, buy it at the limit, and that's it. Click send. Like literally, I feel like some people, like you go to the option chain and it's like you're at a candy store trying to choose which candy you want. It's like you gotta go in there knowing you want vanilla Hershey's. And no matter how much the vanilla Hershey is, you're gonna buy it. The vanilla Hershey is the one that's at the money. You should be in there and out because the longer you take on the option chain, the more time you spend on the option chain, you're just wasting time. The stock is gonna fucking move without you, and then you start crying because the stock was moving without you, and then you take so fucking long that you can't get filled now. Oh my gosh, I can't get filled on my thing. Well, that's because you sat there for 5 minutes trying to choose which one you want. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just stating facts because I know that that's what happens. You're over here sitting there, biting your nails, trying to see which one you should buy, and then you're like, oh, then you finally choose, right? You buy it. Oh, it says whatever it says on the thing. It just says it can't get filled yet. And then the stock is already up like $1.50, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out, guys. What do I do? Right? Worst case scenario, buy it at market as long as the spread is tight. And I sell a lot of my stuff on market too. If I have more than 30 contracts, I'm not gonna wait. The only bad thing about selling at market is if the spread's like $2. Then you just kind of like screwed yourself over there. Have you guys ever bought an option only to sell it for nothing? And you're up so big because you're selling it at market, and then it's like, wow, all that fucking headache that I just went through for no reason. All that emotional damage that I just put myself through. So let's say okay, let's look at probability in this example. If my entry is hold on. Whatever. If my entry is here, my exit's here, right? What is this green? This green is my profit, right? That's all my potential profit. Now, when I set my stop loss, right? I set my stop loss. I'll set my stop loss over here. And so now what I'm going to do is, this is just to give you an example of what risk to reward looks like. That means that this on the bottom, that's my risk and that's my reward. Now, how I think about it is, if I'm risking this much to make this much, that means I'm risking 1 to make 3. All right, I'll do levels on one more. Riots. Riot might go too. I get out on my own. Daily on Riot looks decent. I just have a watch list. I used to set alerts, but alerts are like alarms to me. It's hard to. I can't even. Sometimes my phone doesn't even. Just know I show up. You know, I'm there. You know, a lot of people. You can set alerts. Just make alerts are only good to you if you're busy. You know, if you're gonna be sitting there in front of your computer, you don't need that thing. You can. I mean, it's all preference, to be honest. All right, so here I have a good one right here. So, well, this is not really a good one, but let's say I move this up a little bit, and let's say this was my entry. Let's say this was my entry, and this is my the breakout. Where would you enter here? Would you still enter at the resistance, or would you enter at the breakout of the bigger pattern? You would enter at the bigger pattern because they're so close together, right? Because the last thing you want to happen to you is last thing you want to happen, right? Last thing you want to happen to you is you enter and then it gets rejected right there. And then how many times have you gone through a trade where you enter and then all of a sudden it hits a resistance and it falls so hard that you can't even fill yourself out of the trade? So you don't want that to happen to you. So in this case, that's my entry and this is my exit. That's a $2 move on Riot. This is my entry for puts. This is my exit for puts. And sometimes what happens is during pre-market or after hours, these names are going to be in like a pattern, maybe like a bull flag or something. And then that's when you can utilize the 9 EMA and the 20 EMA when it crosses over, as long as you use the systematic rule where you want for the systematic strategy that we talked about, what has to happen first? Remember? You want the pattern first, momentum, EMA, volume, breakout. All right, so I want you guys to make your own watch list and make to like right after this right now, and then send them in the chat so you guys all can compare levels. And don't use the names that I just did. You can enter on the resistance line, or you can wait until it breaks out of the resistance line. It just depends on what time frame you're looking at. Because sometimes what happens is, no, the EMA when it's tight doesn't mean a squeeze. Because what happens is sometimes if you use a 5-minute chart and you wait for the candle to close, that candle might have been big enough for you to have entered before that. You know what I mean? So what you can do is you can just go to the 1 minute and you enter at the 1 minute breakout. But in the 5 minute, it's just gonna look like it crosses. But on the 1 minute, it's already broken out of that line. That's why you want to just keep switching time frames. All right, you guys get the homework for today? All right, guys. Make sure you send it in like an hour and a half.